Greetings, everyone. The following stories are from Native American legends dealing with skinwalkers. I found them both intriguing and interesting. This is mostly a test run to see how well I do with this whole narration thing. If you enjoy what you hear, please let me know. And if there's anything you think I should change, also let me know. My grandmother, on my mother's side, has always been very superstitious. For lack of a better word, she's not religious, but she does believe in a lot of paranormal stuff. Her mother was full-blooded Navajo, and her father was Irish. Either way, she'd never been anywhere east of Montana, and she grew up in Nevada. One year, when I was in grade school, we went to visit her. Most of the visit was pretty uneventful, typical boring old stuff, except she always kept her curtains drawn and shut and would always peek out the window. And when someone asked what she was doing, she would simply reply, "Yanalushi is watching me." This went on for nearly the entire visit, till a couple of days before we were due to leave. My grandmother and my then baby brother, he's now 19, were in the front yard that evening, planting flowers, when all of a sudden, my grandmother starts shouting. Insert little brother names here. "Get away from that creature! It's not safe!" Of course, being in Nevada, we all assumed that my brother had found a scorpion or a rattlesnake. So, we all run outside to see my grandmother clutching my little brother and shaking in terror. Against the side of the house, standing out in the yard, was a large, black, Great Dane-sized dog. It was staring at my grandmother with an intensity I'd never seen before. It looked up at us, gave a little huff, and bounded off. My uncle is Mexican and Native American. This happened in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. He was driving around with his girlfriend late at night, and they saw something that looked like a huge black dog on the side of the road. He slowed down, and the dog began crossing the road. Instead of walking like a normal dog would, this thing moved like a toy rocking horse. He said it stopped in the middle of the road, stared right at them, and its eyes had a red glow. My uncle is the most badass person I know, and it scared the crap out of him. So this happened about 12 years ago. My family owns a farm in the heart of an Indian reservation. One winter, I was home for Christmas, taking care of the farm while my parents were away Christmas shopping. I was home by myself, way late in the night, and I hear all our cows freaking out. I knew it had to be the wild dogs that are rampant in the area. So I throw on some boots, grab a shotgun, load it up, and head out to the field. This was a perfect scenario for a horror movie. It was cloudy, but there was a full moon, and it was breaking through the clouds, just enough to light up all the snow. I ran out into the middle of the field, and just in time, I see two dogs. They were standing up, facing each other, and fighting. I think perfect, 2 for 1. So I pump a shell into the chamber of my Mr. 12 gauge, and then it happened. The two dogs heard the rack. They both stopped, looked over at me, and ran away on their back legs. Immediately I froze. Every ghost story about skinwalkers, all the native legends I grew up on, all of them flew through my mind. Keep in mind, I'm a white guy, and up until then, these were all just boogeyman stories that the native kids like to tell to scare us. That night, they became very real to me. In July 2004, near Gallup, New Mexico, I had my first and only encounter with a skinwalker. Before this, I used to say, "I'll believe it when I see it." Well, I'm a believer now. What I saw was not fully human, nor fully animal. I was moving and just completed the cleaning and had my 10-year-old son with me. We called it a night and we're headed to our new place. As we walked out the front door, I saw a figure move from behind my neighbor's car to a nearby tree that stood between our two apartments. It didn't have red glowing eyes, snarling teeth, or even a rotten smell. It did move very quickly, but not quick enough to avoid the light from a nearby light post or porch lights. It didn't look at me or come toward me. It moved as if trying to avoid being seen. It was within 15 feet or so, but I did not look back to fully inspect it. What I saw was a wolf-like animal that sort of resembled the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, just not cartoonish. It had brown fur that completely covered it. It wasn't a pelt. It was a very large wolf-like creature. It didn't have any human traits, except that it walked on its hind legs. It cowered between the trees as we got to our vehicle. When we got in, I asked my son, "Did you see that?" Thankfully, he did not. My brother-in-law insists that it wasn't a skinwalker, because I would have never seen it. To this day, I can picture what it looked like. I know they exist, and I pray that I never encounter one of those things again. Well, that'll do it for now. I'll return with more in the future. I hope you enjoyed the stories. And if you're in the American Southwest, be careful.